If you're a travel agent who struggles with the tech side of your business and unsure which way's up when it comes to your digital marketing strategy, I've got news for you. You are not the only one. In fact, this episode is packed full of perspective from loads of travel agent business owners who share exactly their struggles with this exact topic. But what I can tell you is that you actually don't have to be a tech genius to have a killer digital marketing strategy for your travel business. Want to know more? Cool, stay tuned. Hey, I'm Steph, and I'm obsessed with all things travel, marketing, branding, and helping you stand out from the crowd. In just under 2 years, I went from being a home-based travel agent with zero clue how to make it work in the digital world to launching an international ranking travel podcast and creating an online course to help travel agents in lead generation. Here's one thing I know for sure. There has never in the history of the world been a better time to create the travel business you've always wanted. All you need is an actionable strategy and someone to show you the way. Picture this, we're going to spend the next hour of our time together at the Swim Up Pool Bar, where over a cocktail, we deep dive into travel-related topics, mixed with a little classroom training. This show is dedicated to encouraging you to step outside of your comfort zone and into your travel business. I'll show you how I did it and how you can too. Hit subscribe now and let's get into it. If you're a travel agent wanting to stand out in the digital world but you struggle with consistency, tech isn't your jam and you have no idea where to start, join my free masterclass where I talk about exactly this. Head to stephaniemyers.academy/masterclass. You're listening to Unplug in Paradise, the podcast. Hello and welcome back to Unplug in Paradise. My name is Steph and I have my fingers crossed that my voice is going to last an entire episode. I haven't been feeling the best and my throat is not enjoying life much either, so hopefully it will get me through. But in today's episode, we are going to uncover the struggles that travel agents face on the day-to-day when it comes to creating a killer digital marketing content strategy for their business. So what I did was earlier on in the week, I went to Instagram, I put a poll up, and on stories, I had people submitting all the tech struggles that they had when it comes to content marketing and also digital marketing for their travel business. So if you did miss that conversation and you would like to contribute something, I'd love it if you DM'd me on Instagram and we can hash it out. But before we get stuck in, there is one myth that I would love to bust open. And this is particular for the agents in the back who have the mindset that they are just not tech savvy. And I get it. But the last time a travel agent told me that they aren't tech savvy got the shock of their lives because I literally had to sit them down and remind them of all the systems that they use on the daily just to get our job done. And as we travel agents know, we literally use so many different platforms each and every single day. And we're expected to be experts on all of these platforms. So, can I just say that the next time the words come out of your mouth, I'm not tech savvy, and they start to escape, I want you to think of this episode. I want you to think of me and what we're going to share today. And a little quick reframe for you as well. And I want you to think of this before you start doubting your abilities is this only feels hard because I haven't quite spent enough time familiarizing myself with it yet. But when I have it, it will make sense and I will be okay. This comes off the back of a very intimate coaching session I had with one of our students who's in the older demographic, absolutely beautiful, amazing human, so many years in the industry, and was so scared of tech. And literally within an hour of spending a time together, She had it nailed. So she was in Canva, she was in Google Docs, and everything else that we use inside of our online course program. She had it all covered, and she went from stressed to relieved and curious and creative, all in the space of an hour of just having a little tutorial. So next time you go to say, I'm not tech savvy, it's just that you haven't spared yourself enough time to familiarize with it and get to understand it and see how it works for your business. Before we begin today's episode, would you please join me while we recognise the generations of the local Aboriginal people of the Bundjalung Nation who have lived in and derived their physical and spiritual needs from the forests, rivers, lakes, and streams of this beautiful valley over thousands of years as the traditional owners and custodians of these lands. So let's run through the answers that I received on Instagram and let me know if you can relate to any of these. There are some absolute bangers in here, so no doubt, wherever you are right now, you're probably going to be nodding to a lot of those. And yeah, kind of resemble one of those bobblehead toys that you put on the dash of your car. So if you are tuning in and you are in the car, yeah, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's get into it. Here are the struggles that I've heard when it comes to digital marketing from travel agents regarding their travel businesses. It's hard keeping up with the latest trends, hitting that sweet spot when it comes to content that gets liked, viewed, and even more so, someone who engages enough to interact through more than just a click, a like, and a save. I'm stuck when it comes to automating some of my emails and creating an automation sequence that go out on autopilot at the right times and to the right people. I struggle with consistency with frequency in postings for social media, consistency in my brand colors and the way I want them to look and feel for my posts. And I also struggle with clear and consistent key messaging throughout my content. Don't get me started on enthusiasm. It feels like I'm being enthusiastic for just a few weeks and then silence, and I don't even know why. I'm finding myself constantly changing course based on what's hot right now in terms of sales and travel deals, and still finding some flow in terms of consistency with my previous posts. How does one establish meaningful connections with other like minded people who complement me rather than compete with me? How do I include enough of me into my business to establish new client relationships, position me as an expert, position me as the expert, and being able to share my travels, my way of life, and my teachings come across as entertaining and sharing without tipping the scales towards appearing too sales driven or too self centric. And I have to say, this one is a really powerful one. When it comes to Reels and TikTok, finding the right audio tracks, editing, capturing, storing, and the right apps to sort all the right images and film. How to monetize my website. There is a lot of tech behind the scenes to set it all up, and all the integrations just makes my mind boggle. And lastly, the last one for me that came through was from the girl who taught me the ropes when I first crossed over into mainstream travel. And it was her perspective that literally stopped me in my tracks when it came to asking travel agents feedback on this topic. And I really feel like this one in particular that I'm about to share is extremely underrated. When it comes to tech struggles in her travel business, she writes, being time poor and not interested, nor having the skills, I was just too focused on selling and getting money in. And I feel that. For me, this is the realest perspective that you can get. Ultimately, everything we do inside of our business can very much boil down to exactly this: being time poor, not interested, nor having the skills, and just being too focused on selling and getting money in. I feel that. So let's take a moment to break that down because I want you to whip out your magnifying glass with me as there is three big things that you can take away just from that one statement alone. So number one, being time poor, which ultimately means that you have less time to action the things inside of your business that you know will give you that leverage in the marketplace. Create your authority in your travel niche and be known for exactly who it is and who you are best serving. Number two, the reason behind why you're time poor, which is having an adverse reaction to having the space to learn new skills and the strategy behind the digital side of your business. And number three, lacking the interest in learning because you lack the time to invest in it because you, in fact, have invested all of your time into selling and bringing money into the business. And if this sounds familiar, let me know. But don't get me wrong, this is the ultimate goal. We definitely want money in the bank. We definitely want client files. We want all of those things. But it's the way that we get there. What foundations can you implement right now, which is going to save you time, save you the brain power, and save you countless hours of having to teach yourself because it's just not fun, and that's pretty much a full-time job all in its own. But one thing that I've experienced in firsthand, and after having personally invested $20,000 into professional development during a pandemic, because of the pure fact that I wanted to learn things the right way when it comes to my online business. So then I can position myself to teach and mentor agents through my framework and my own individual experience. But here's a news flash for you. There is no silver bullet strategy when it comes to magically creating an extra 5 hours in your day or 5 hours in your week. There's no silver bullet strategy that magically gives you all of those creative juices on demand, give you everything that you could possibly want and need to create an epic digital marketing strategy for your business. It just doesn't exist. But take our online course, for example. So, Travel Agent Runway is our flagship online digital course exclusive for travel agents. It's a perfect example where I take agents who are independent owner operators and are active in all facets of their travel business. They are stuck in all of these exact same struggles as we mentioned earlier. They're hitting all of the roadblocks and left wondering why should they even bother with it all? Because A, it's too confusing, B, too difficult, and C, just sounds like an absolute headache. And to me, that would be a pretty substantial problem, and I'd probably do my best to ignore it as well if I knew that it was going to be a total time suck. But what I can tell you is the moment that you get caught up in the problem is the moment that you're actually not focusing on a solution to fix that problem. Or, better yet, adopting a new way of doing things to incorporate the digital world into your business, eliminate the problem altogether, and sustain it for a long term situation. So, that to me is a far more tangible transformation and one that you can actually enjoy in the process. And I know that many of my students can vouch for me here. It's not always glamorous. I mean, just the tech side alone of having a digital marketing strategy can sometimes be a mind boggle at the best of times, let alone trying to work out the process, what goes on behind the scenes, all the moving parts, and actually having a strategy behind it that makes the whole damn thing work, right? So confusing. But this takes me back to the cycle of productivity. So, in business, everyone talks about productivity and all those sorts of things, making sure that you're allowing enough time to get all your jobs done in the day, blah, blah, blah. But for us, this can be interpreted in a million different ways, depending on the business. But for us travel agents and for me personally, I have enough things to think about. I don't need to know the cycle of productivity. So I like to keep things really simple. So I've got my own cycle, and you probably can relate to me here. Okay, so it starts off at the beginning of the cycle. For me, it's from the moment where I start off full of enthusiasm. I'm pumped, I'm ready to spring into action, and I'm ready with those creative juices flying. And I can't wait to get stuck into, my digital marketing strategy, my content. It's all feeling really positive, and I'm feeling really good about what I'm gonna do. Then I dive in and I start like 5 new things at the one time, and my to-do list is a mile long, of content ideas and everything else. I've got 5 new marketing campaigns that I've thought up. I'm thinking of things that I can post regularly to social media. I'm scheduling for the next few weeks or the month ahead, and I'm neck deep in it. Doing all of the things which we are just so good at. But this is what happens. We start to feel overwhelmed. Well, at least I know that I do when I put myself under too much. I've got too many things on my to do list. I get overwhelmed and things start to feel naturally really, really hard. And you begin to feel unsure of the direction that you were taking. And the ideas that once flew into your mind in the middle of the night kept you awake. And that warm sensation that would fill your heart and make you feel like up on top of your digital game. It's fading away quickly, and you're kind of wondering, okay, shit. What now? What the hell do I do now? So you go through a bit of a phase. This is all completely objective. You start to feel a bit depressed. Self doubt starts to creep in. Imposter syndrome starts popping her head up and reminding you of all of the things that you've just felt like you've achieved was a major waste of your time. And you start to think of things like, okay, what could I have done instead with that time? I could have binged on Netflix, or I could have gone to Europe, or I could have done something really constructive, except I spent all that time on creating a digital marketing strategy that flopped. So you stop doing all the things. You're pretty low about it. You're feeling unsure of the direction of how to move forward, and you quickly fall into a slum. Whether it be a few weeks, a few months, and who knows at that point. But all you know is that the digital tech life is not for you, and you decided to throw up a mind block around it, saying that you shouldn't bother, that tech. You're not tech savvy because you didn't understand it and you didn't create enough content for it to be engaging. So therefore, you're putting up that roadblock saying, okay, this isn't for me. I'm not good at it. But then after a while, you start to feel bored. Clients are asking you about your lack of online presence. They assume that you're no longer working, or that you have another job still, or worse, that you're no longer in the industry at all. And they begin to start chatting with other people who do have a consistent digital footprint online. Because of this, you start feeling really manic and hell bent on firing things back up again. But what you've done is you're literally going to do anything to engage with your community again. So you post anything and everything to your social media, and like the spaghetti approach, just throw it all at the wall and see what sticks. And then now you're back at the very start of the cycle, beginning to create again. But as you felt, all of that seems pretty negative, right? And it can be if you're not giving yourself enough time and space to actually accept the seasons in your business. So your energy this time round feels different because all of the roadblocks and reasons why you can't are all fairly cemented into your work persona now. And you don't want that. So a question might be, okay, how on earth do I flip the script on this? How do I change this for myself? Because this is exactly how I'm feeling. But a better question to ask would be, what tools do I need to have in place to get this done? Do I need to do a course? Do I need to outsource? And what can I do to learn this properly? Because at the end of the day, the tech struggles that you do face might just be the exact thing that you ultimately need to be good at to excel in your travel business. And you only need to be good at one thing. Like a lot of the tech stuff behind the scenes in digital marketing, it can be as complex or as easy as you want it to be. And you need to think about how you can start creating an opportunity for learning, realizing that it's not all meant to be perfect. Social media and digital marketing, there's no blueprint for this. Newsflash, no blueprint. There is no, this is the way to do it for this to have the exact success that you're looking for. It is all trial and error. So, what might work for me in my content digital marketing strategy is going to be completely different to the girl who's sitting in a villa in Bali working from her laptop, or the guy in Sydney. Say, for example, let's pick Adrian, the cruise and travel guy from last week's episode, for example. His content strategy is going to be heaps different to mine, and it's going to look completely different to the next travel agent. So, the key message here is not to give up. Stay as consistent as you possibly can. Watch your stats and gather the data from everything that you post. What's working? What isn't working? And make a little bit of a spreadsheet up. Continue to serve the right people and serve the right problem for your business. And if you do need to take a step back and treat yourself to a little digital detox, do it. Do it. You probably get more engagement by having a break anyway, and then coming back with fresh new content for your clients and your travel community. So, yeah, and I think there's a lot to be said with showing your clients and travel community as well that you honor yourself enough to take a break and you honor the season that's happening in your current life, because it then helps them set their expectations with you is that you're not always going to be on the ball and you're a human being. It's expected that human beings are going to fade away and not always be so consistent. We're not robots, and especially when you're a one man band or a one woman business, it's literally you doing all of the things. So stepping out back and taking a digital detox, I'm all for that. You need to embrace your journey in small business. It's hard at the end of the day. Not everyone could do it. If it was easy, everyone would have their own online small business. So you want to make sure that you're enjoying the process, and remember that there is no specific blueprint for travel agents. It's not about seeking that one size fits all approach. The silver bullet strategy is non existent, doesn't exist. This journey is your journey of discovery, and one that you can grow your own authenticity and not focus on overthinking the problems that you might face along the way. Trust in yourself and your insane capabilities to own your authority in the online space. And trust me, once you get there, you will never ever look back. So, just to rehash, we went through the IG feedback that I received on Instagram stories during the week in regards to the biggest tech struggles that travel agents face when it comes to digital marketing for their online business. And we went through each of them one by one and also elaborated on the things that you do need to have instead of a picture perfect digital marketing strategy, because it just does not exist. If you're wanting to download an online version of today's show notes, you can head over to travelbystephanie.com.au/52 to learn more about why you don't have to be a tech genius to create a killer digital marketing strategy for your travel business. If you don't yet have a digital marketing strategy in your travel business and wondering where to start, head over to My Social Suitcase. The link is in the show notes as well, which is my one stop shop to getting your name up in lights in the digital world and create an epic social media content strategy packed with ready to go templates that you can do does all the heavy lifting for you so that you can grow your travel business and onboard brand new clients in just 7 days. Also, I wanted to do a shout out to Adrian, the cruise and travel guy who I had the absolute pleasure of hosting on the show last week. He left me the kindest review saying, "I loved my time chatting with Steph. Thank you so much for making me feel so comfortable. Love your podcast and always full of invaluable information, guidance, and are entertaining to boot. Keep up the fantastic work." If you're enjoying the podcast, I'd love to hear from you. make sure you DM me over on Instagram and please consider subscribing to Unplug in Paradise on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you are feeling super generous, please leave me a 5-star rating and review and I will read it out on the next episode. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. See ya. Bye.